In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create products in Printify using your own designs. I'm also going to show you how to automatically create your Etsy listings from Printify and show you how to tweak your Etsy listings so you get the best results. This is actually part 2 of a tutorial, so for many of you, this is a continuation. If you missed part 1, we learned how to create listings using Canva. I showed you how you can create 100 listings for your Etsy shop without creating 100 unique designs. If you didn't see that video, I will leave it linked in the description. This is a full tutorial video, so get comfortable, log into your Printify account, and follow along. If you don't have a design handy, then pause and watch part 1 of this tutorial. That way, you'll have a design handy to create a product in Printify. Let's jump over to my laptop and we're going to start out in Printify. We're now in Printify and we're going to start off at the catalog. So you can see how it look when you come into Printify. Now I usually go into my products and my orders because what I do is duplicate products that I've already made, but I want to start you from the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on catalog and we're just going to we're going to make a sweatshirt. So I'm just going to go to under men's clothing, and the sweatshirt that I like to use is a unisex, so you can go into it under men or women's. So I'm just going to go men's clothing, and then I'm going to go sweatshirts. And I'm going to scroll down, and the first sweatshirt in the list when I pull it up is this unisex heavy blend crew neck sweatshirt, and I know it's the Gildan 180 or 1800. And once you find a product that you like to use, you can click on this little heart, make it turn green, and then those products will show under your favorites. So I'm going to go back and show you how to get to your favorites. So I'm going to hit this back button. So like we were starting from the beginning, I'm going to go to catalog, and then right down here is my favorites. So if we click on that, then we can see everything that you have marked as a favorite, and I've got a lot of items in here. So I'm just going to go to my second page because I know that's where my sweatshirts and hoodies usually land. And then you can see here is that Gildan 1800. But this is a picture of it on a woman. It is a unisex sweatshirt. It's the same sweatshirt. So I'm just going to click on this. And it's going to tell me a little bit about the product. And you can see here that I have it hearted or favorited. And then as you scroll down, then you can see your print providers. And I scroll down. What I love about Printify is you get the print provider and you get the rating for that print provider. If you click on the rating, you can see why it was rated that way. And the ratings are constantly updated. You can see this is based on the last 4 weeks' performance. And they're rated by quality, production speed, and stock reliability. But what I'm going to do is choose a print provider that is in the US. So this first one's location is Canada. If you hover over the location, you can see where that is if you don't recognize the flag. But scroll down, and then we're just going to find the print provider that we like. Now, I have been using Swift POD, and I've liked their quality. And you can see that they have a lower rating than Underground Threads, but I actually like them and I like their price point. So you can see Swift POD, the price starts from $10.86. While the price for Underground Threads starts at $12.57. Shipping for Underground Threads is $9.99, where for Swift POD is $8.49. Now, you're not always going to go with the lower price. You're usually going to find a print provider that you like and trust and then go with them. I also like that the average production time for Swift POD is 2.1 business days. But this is one I've been using, so I'm going to stick with it. And all you do is once you find that print provider, you go ahead and you hit start designing. Another thing to note is while you're looking at the print providers, you can see the color options that they have for the product that you're working on. So this is a sweatshirt. That's something to mention about Monster Digital. Now, I really love Monster Digital. They are by far the most popular print provider on Printify that I know about. I always hear people raving about Monster Digital. But when I'm doing sweatshirts, I usually don't choose them because they don't have some of the colors that I need. So that forest green is really popular right now. A military green is really popular. Swift POD doesn't even have the military green, but since they have the forest green, I go with it. And you can see like these colors like the gold. There are a few colors that are missing from Monster, so that's why I don't choose it all the time. It really just depends on the design. So here we're going to go with Swift. I'm going to hit Start Designing. Then you're going to be taken into the design window where you can pull in your graphic. Now, if you've never seen this before, let me explain it to you. So it gives you a little outline of your sweatshirt or your hoodie or whatever item you're designing for. And then you have this dashed line that's a box. And this is where your design can lie. Anything outside of this box will not be printed. So let me show you what I mean. So let's go find our design. I'm going to click on my device, and then I'm going to find our retro football era design. Okay, so the design is going to load, and now you can see it inside of this box. You can see if I push it over to the side, it disappears. It means that this box shows the only print area for this sweatshirt. Anything outside of this box will not print. And that is why I make my designs as big as possible in the print area so I can see a true sizing in this box. Because on a shirt, I really don't want this to be a width of 14. That's going to be really big on a sweatshirt. I usually go around 11. And now if I take and I put 11 in the width, I know this is a true 11-inch width because I don't have a lot of white space on the sides of my design. So I'm going to do that. And then I can also, because I have my design pressed up to the top and there's not a lot of white space at the top, I can use these handy buttons here that says center my design and then push it to the very top. And I know that I am at the top of my print area and in the middle of my print area. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the colors and say what color options for the sweatshirt I want to have. So I'm going to go with select here, and these are the colors that I have to choose from. And I usually stick with a basic set of colors that I've seen popular on Etsy. I always go with this sand color. I always go with the sports gray. I will normally do something in a pink unless I'm doing a retro where I think the pink just doesn't look good. So to me, that's a little weird. So I might not do the pink. I normally always do a black. And because this is a color design, I can also do a dark heather. So something that's a little bit darker than a sports gray. And I might do a navy. Navy kind of goes with that whole retro theme too. And it looks like it will stand out okay. And so we're going to go with that. Now that I have my shirts here, I usually pick a color that I can see, and then I might go with the preview. So here, it's going to show you what it's going to look like on a shirt. So Printify will actually give you a mock-up. Sometimes in edit mode, you don't get a clear picture of what it's going to look like. So here, to me, this design kind of looks a little off in this view, and it looks like it's not going to come out right. But if I go into my preview view, I can see what it's going to look like on my shirt, and it actually looks like what it looked like when I was designing it in Canva. Now, you can use these mock-ups. Printify will give you these mock-ups and send them over to your Etsy shop, but don't recommend using them because they are not the best. I'm going to show you how to create some better mock-ups. But for now, this just kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like on the shirt. And you can kind of get an idea of whether it's going to be too big or too blown out. You'll notice that over here when I made this 11, it looked like it might be kind of small. But if we go in here to the preview, we can see that it's really not. Now, my sizing comes from actually printing shirts or pressing shirts and cutting them from vinyl. So I kind of have an idea of what size a graphic should be. Normally on a large, when I'm doing a sweatshirt, I'll make those 11 inches. So that's what I do for my print on demand. And this is a good time to mention this. So notice this text right here. The preview is of a large sweatshirt. That is the standard size that Printify will use when you're designing your clothing. But if this is on a medium, Printify is going to scale it appropriately so it looks the same way on the medium that it does on the large, and that's a good thing. So just remember that you're designing for a large when you are measuring out your designs and trying to figure out the width that you want them. So I am happy with this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move to Save Product. So then we're going to be on the screen where we can choose whether we want these different views to show in our Etsy listing, and we don't because we're going to make our own mockups. So I usually just go with the first one for the title image because I'm not going to use them anyway. And then I'm going to scroll down to listing details. And then this is where we're just going to enter our title, and you can worry about your title here, or you can do it once you get over into Etsy. But I know I'm going to keyword my title, so I can usually just start here. So I know this is going to be a football sweatshirt for women. And then I'm going to I usually put what the graphic says or description of the graphic as my next term. So I'm going to go in my football era, and then I might put in another keyword, fun football shirt. And when I do sweatshirts, I try to add in the words sweatshirt, shirt, crew neck, and sometimes I'll put hoodie if I offer it in a hoodie because they can come to this design and know that I'll have another listing that I'll direct them to for the hoodie. But for right now, let's leave it at this. Now in this area, you're going to put your description. This can be anything that you want it to be. I usually delete what Printify has in there, and to start off, I just duplicate my title. Because what I've learned in Etsy is I think they're trying to move away from the text that's in the description. So everything that I want my buyer to see, I put it in a listing photo, and I don't depend on the description. So I have some descriptions, I have some description text that I used to copy and keep on all my listings, but I'm kind of moving away from it because, again, I think Etsy is moving away from the description. And for about 4 or 5 days last week, I couldn't even find descriptions on any listings. So I think they were doing some changes in their interface. So if they don't think it's important, I'm not going to think it's important. But I know I want my customers to know certain things, so I just put that in the listing photos. But more to come on that later. Next, you have your shipping profile, and you can automatically assign a new shipping profile. And I usually use that one because I want the shipping parameters from my print provider to come through to Etsy, and I make any changes over there if I need to. Because on my sweatshirts and hoodies, I normally offer free shipping. And, I take care of that in my pricing. So I'm just going to scroll down, and then I'm going to get to my pricing. Now, I have standard set pricing that I use for my sweatshirts. A set pricing if they're one-sided, another set pricing if they're double-sided, pricing for my hoodies, pricing for my t-shirts. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to enter in my pricing. So I have the same price for small, medium, large, and extra large. My pricing for a sweatshirt is usually $40. And then 2X, I charge $43. 3X, I charge $46. 4X, I charge $49. And then 5X, I charge $52. Oops, $52. And I know this by heart because I've done so many listings. And once you do this a lot of times, you will know it by heart too. Printify also in this chart will let you know if you put in the retail price like of $40, it'll tell you what your profit is going to be, what your profit margin is, the production cost, the shipping cost, and the shipping option. So this is just good for you to get familiar with. But I use a spreadsheet to determine what I'm going to charge, because then I can put in my Etsy fees and I can put in what shipping is. So I know exactly how much profit I'm going to make if I offer free shipping, how much profit I'm going to make if I give a discount or have a sale. And I'm usually running about a 20% off sale constantly because Etsy will boost those sale listings. And when you do a new listing, one way to get it seen is to run a sale on it or keep it on sale. So that's just one of my strategies for my new listings. So I want to make sure that I price accordingly. I know I'm going to break even and not make a big profit while I'm trying to get my listings running and ranking on the first page of Etsy search. But then after that, then I adjust my pricings to kind of their standard pricing, and I get the amount of profit that I want per item. So I'm going to scroll down and then go to my publish settings. And I usually keep this middle option, the one that says best for SEO. So it says show in-stock variants as available and out of stock, variants as sold out. I like that option, but you can choose any one of these that you want. And then sync product details. It's going to automatically sync the product title, description, color sizes, prices, and SKUs, and a shipping profile because this is your first time uploading this image or this listing. And it lets you choose whether you want to do the mockups, and I don't. Even if you don't select the mockups, the first mockup is going to go over, but we're going to delete that once we get over into Etsy. So this is how I want it. Now I'm just going to hit publish, and then we're going to go over to Etsy and look at the results. So Printify will take you back to your product listing, and you'll see that it is publishing. And once this status changed to published, that is when you can go and look at it in Etsy. So that was pretty quick, and you can see here it's now published. So now we're going to pop over to our Etsy shop and look at this listing. So I've popped over to my Etsy shop and I have opened the listing so I can edit it. And you can see here, you can see the title that we put in when we were in Printify has made its way over. You can see we have the one mockup. And as we scroll down, we'll look at some other items that we're going to tweak. So without going really deep into Etsy SEO, I have another video that will help you with your listings, but I want to make sure that I optimize this. So I usually use my full 140 characters. And there are a lot of different schools of thoughts about whether you keyword stuff or whether you use just something simple that the customer can find. I usually add a lot of keywords into my title, and then what I do is I will create a duplicate listing with a short title, and I'll see which one works best. But remember, I need 100 listings, so 2 listings out of one with the long keyword stuff title and one with the short one, those count. Another way you're going to get your listings fast. So I might want to add some different words in here. And I just start thinking of things. Like you might wear this to a football party. So I'll say football party. I'm going to say crew neck because I haven't used that term yet. And then maybe funny or in my era. This is kind of in those in my era shirts. So I might say that. In my era. And then a lot of times oversized sweatshirts are doing pretty good. So I'll say oversized sweatshirt if I have enough characters. And looks like I did. Okay. So I might go in my era shirt because I've got some space left. And so we're going to go with that. And then I'm going to scroll down. And now I need to change my mockups. So this is where I'm going to show you how you can create some really cute mockups that are better than the ones that you're going to get in Printify. So for this, we're going to go back to Canva. And remember I told you I use 2000 for my mockups. So let's click on that, or you can just enter 2000 and 2000 into these boxes and make sure that you have px, so it's pixels and not inches. So I'm just going to open that. I have a blank canvas window. And now what I'm going to do is I have mock-up photos that I've purchased from Etsy. These allow me to create the same type of mock-ups and have my shop looking congruent, like it flows together. So I'm just going to go to my uploads and then go down to look at some of my mock-ups. So here I want to pull in mock-ups from the colors that I selected in Printify. So I know I had a black shirt, so I'm going to pull her in this black sweatshirt. Add another page. I know I had a navy. Add another page. I always have a white. And depending on how much space you have, you will pick them. And I know I had this athletic or sports gray. And we're going to go with those for now. And now we need to add our design onto these sweatshirts. And we're going to go back to what we pulled in. We have our design in it wavy, but remember we added stars and all kind of beautiful things to this. So we need to upload that design into Canva so we can put it on our shirts. So we're going to go to upload and find our file. And it's right here. It's the retro football era PNG, same one we used in Printify. We can reuse it here. We're going to pull it in as an upload, and then we're going to add this design to each one of our mock-up photos. And we just click on it, and then we're going to resize it so it fits. And you want to size it how it should look when the shirt is printed. So we're going to try to kind of center it. And then the trick here is changing the transparency. And what that does is makes it look like the design is actually on the shirt and not laid on top of it. And there's no magic number here. I usually just pull it until, for me, it seems like it kind of melts into the shirt. So we do that. And then let's go to our navy. And as I look at this, like I know on these dark color shirts, I feel like that football needs to be another color. But this is a sample or demo, so we won't change it. But just recognize or look at the color schemes that you're putting on the different colors. And so you notice how once you change the transparency, the design kind of melts into the shirt. I think this might be a little bit bigger. And then on our white, and she's kind of got on an oversized hoodie, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. And then melt it in. And then on our sports gray. And then change the transparency and melt it in. So now we have our design on our mock-up photos, and then we're going to use these inside of Etsy instead of the ones that came from Printify. So I usually name my mock-ups. I start with mock-ups so I can always find them, and then what I'm calling the graphic, so probably just football era. Okay. And now I have that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to download all of my files at one time. And we're going to hit share, download. And this time we don't need a transparent background because we have kind of backgrounds behind our models and we want to see that. We want all 4 pages and then we'll just hit download. Okay, our download is complete. So let's go back over to Etsy and add in our mock-up photos. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this trash can and delete this one. Then we're going to click here. This says add photos. I'm going to go and pick my mockups. I'm going to grab them all at the same time. And I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to click on the first one, hold down Shift, click on the last one, hit open, and pull in all of my photos at one time. And now I have all of my mockup photos. And what I'll usually do is I have what I call supporting photos. And I'll probably do another video to show you how to make those. But I talk about things that I would normally put in my description. I talk about, that I use Gildan sweatshirts. I talk about colors, what happens if I don't have a color in stock, things that I want people to know about my shop. I'll add a size chart here. And sometimes I'll add a color chart if I have colors that people might not know what they look like. But if I'm using red, black, navy, they're pretty easy to spot. So now I'm going to go down and I'm going to fix my thumbnail picture. And I'm just going to hit this adjust thumbnail because I want to kind of make it a little bit bigger and pull it down so we can see her smile. And then I'm going to hit done. And then I usually fill in this alt text, and this is for people who have visual impairments. So I describe my shirt. So I'm going to call it a football sweatshirt. And then what it says in my football era. And then I'm going to scroll down and hit apply. And then I've noticed that sometimes in this interface, it doesn't look like your thumbnail adjusted, but once you go over and save it, you'll see it. If you're curious about it, you can hit adjust again and you see how it's looking like it's supposed to look. So no changes needed. I'm going to exit out of it. And again, my description, I usually just make it match my title for now. Oh, did I spell crewnet wrong? Yes. Well, no, it just wants me to capitalize it. Okay. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to copy. Just going to update my description with some nice keywords. Scroll down. I'm not going to put any personalization in this one, but if you were offering a personalized item, you can add personalization instructions to your buyers there. I don't need to change anything in price and inventory and SKUs. And let me tell you this, because this is very important. These long SKUs here are what connects your products to the product in Printify. So you don't want to edit these SKUs at all. If at any point you wanted to make this listing to where you were going to now make it in-house and you didn't want it to go to Printify, you could just delete these SKUs and that would break the connection. But you always want to make sure these SKUs are intact if you want your orders to flow over to Printify correctly. So don't make any changes there. No changes here. Sometimes I go in and just say my sleeve length is long sleeve because it's just so easy to do. And then I would need to add my tags. Now these are very important and these should be keywords. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on tags because again, I have another video that's going to tell you how to do your Etsy SEO or optimize your listings. So I'm just going to quickly pop some tags in here. Okay, so I've got my tags in here and now I'm just going to go down. I don't put anything in materials. I usually will not or make only one change to my shipping profile, and that's because I offer free shipping. But my shipping profile is used on all of my listings from SwiftPOD, so I normally don't have to go in and change this. So I'm just going to scroll down. And you'll need to decide whether you're going to offer returns and exchanges. And if you want to know more about that, I do have a video on returns and exchanges, and I will link that in the cards right above me. So you should see that on the screen. But I do offer returns and exchanges if it is not a custom product, and this is not custom. So I'm going to leave that at returns and exchanges for 30 days. I'm going to add a shop section. So this is a sweatshirt. I'm going to put it there. And then I always keep on automatic listing because as one item sells, I want the listing to automatically renew. And I also leave on my Etsy ads when I am creating a new listing. So when I create new listings, I want to have Etsy ads running on the listing to get it some views. I want to have a sale running on it, and I want to drive traffic to it for my social media. So those are just some things that I do to get a listing running and get it on the first page. And it usually takes a couple of weeks for it to get there, but just kind of a tried and true strategy that I use. So once I've done all of that, I'm just going to go ahead and hit publish changes. And like magic, this is what our listing looks like on Etsy. And then we can scroll through our pictures and we have really vibrant mock-up photos and a cute football design. So that is how you create a design in Canva, come up with more than one design from one theme, and then I might even go back to this design and make it all pink or make it all blue. And then I could do that both in my straight text, because remember I had one with straight text, and I would go through for that one, make mock-ups, make a listing, put it on all of the different items. And then so I have different color variations. I have different ways I did my font, meaning wavy and straight. So those designs, so you can see how just using the same design, you come up with more than one listing, and you can easily get to 10, 20, 30 listings just off of one design. And once you do that and come up with different designs, you'll be at your 100 listings really fast. Because remember I said 100 listings, not 100 unique designs. I'm so excited. You're all set to start loading up your Etsy shop with your print-on-demand products. I look forward to seeing you in the HWS Etsy Tribe Facebook group. This is where right now we're collaborating on the Etsy Q4 challenge. But even outside of preparing for Q4, we learn from each other and support each other on all things Etsy. I'll be available for questions, and I'll also post tutorial videos in the group before they're published here on YouTube, for those of you who want to move a little faster with your Etsy POD business. You can join the group by clicking on the link in the pinned comment. You're on your way to a full Etsy shop. So now click on this video and let's talk about how you're going to make your first 100 sales.